Okay, I just finished putting together this bid proposal response for paint inspection services. This is a 13-page proposal response with our write-up as well as contracting documents. In this training, I'm going to show you how I did all this from scratch, literally step by step. Here are the 5 steps that we followed and filled out in this training. And in this video, we also use this is the opportunity that we looked at. We also used our small PDF software. So I'll show you how to do that. And we also used a little bit of ChatGPT. So you'll want to stay tuned for this video if all this sounds good to you. Okay, let's go ahead and dive into today's bid proposal response. This is the proposal we'll be working on for this solicitation for paint inspection. We will be using small PDF in this training to merge and sign and annotate and extract the pages to put together like a nice submission document. We may be jumping over to ChatGPT to help us with any technical. I'm not 100% on that just yet. And then these are the 5 steps we're going to be going through that are going to pretty much make up this entire training. Okay, so these are the 5 steps that I teach in our course. This is not the first time I've said these. But step 1, we're going to read solicitation. Step 2, outline. Step 3, pricing. Step 4, proposal writing. And step 5, review and submission. So we're going to do all those in this video. And let's go ahead and get started with step 1, reading the solicitation. So we have the FY24 paint inspection. This is for the Army. This is ACC, Army Contracting Command. This bid is due August 8th. Small business set aside with the 541380 testing labs and services NAICS code. I don't know how to pronounce this, Tool or Thule. I'm sure somebody in the comments can let me know. Utah is the place of performance for this. For attachments, we have a Q&A. We have a wage determination. We have a separately attached statement of work. And then we have the actual solicitation document. We will look at the solicitation document last in this instance because these documents are rather short. We will dive into the Q&A, and just remember, we're already knowing that this is for paint inspection. We don't know exactly what this means to them and therefore what it should mean to us, but this is what we're kind of going in with. And you can find a lot of information in the Q&A. I don't know how much bigger I can make this for you. I know it's kind of small. But we won't spend too much time on this, just to keep things moving. Question 1, do you have an estimated time frame for the coatings applicator to complete the 30 containers in each grouping? Total, it says typically 30 to 36 containers per week are completed for testing. Number 2, we are assuming that 25 trips, so probably 25 trips of these 30 containers, equates to 1 grouping. However, 400 containers divided by the group of 30 would suggest approximately 14 trips. Will this work be continuous, or will it be gaps? You guys probably don't know what any of this is talking about, so we actually are not going to start with the Q&A. We can come back to it with a little bit more context. So instead, we'll look at the statement of work because those questions are just, you need context to understand them. So here's the statement of work, 2 pages. Okay, we'll check this off our list too. It says, remember, for paint inspection testing, a minimum of 400 containers will be tested. 400 containers will be tested. The number of containers available for testing will be broken down to groups of 30. So that's kind of where these questions were coming from. Due to the nature of the required inspections, contractor will need to be on site daily during. So that's going to be, on site, Thule, Utah, during the processing of each group of 30 containers. This process will continue as necessary until all 400 containers are successfully manufactured. And then depending on the weather and the schedule, this may take up to 25 trips, but they were saying in the question, it seems like it might only take 14 trips, they were saying. So a little bit more context there. So we can kind of take those hand in hand. Question 3, are the 7 inspection forms existing? Those are forms in the solicitation. We will look at those. And these are forms, they're saying these forms already exist and are attached, but these are forms you would fill out once you actually begin start of work. These are not proposal-related forms. Blast booth, temp, daily temp, just measurements as we're going along, paint-specific things and testing. Number 4, what training is required? There's no training. What is the process and time required to enter the base? Contractor will need to be able to pass security check the first time, and then will need a valid ID and be issued a visitor's badge. Pretty typical. Number 6 of 8, is our coating thickness meter acceptable use? They're saying we use a Delfesco with SPG 6000 attachments. Okay, fine. You are likely not going to be familiar with these specs because you will likely be trying to do a legal middleman / work with a subcontractor on this where you're managing the contract. If that's the instance, these are important details that you will be communicating with your teaming partner. Okay. Question number 7, is a 7 or 18-day calendar day notice for us to be on site acceptable? Yes, we can work with that. And then, is invoicing one time only at the end of the project acceptable? The government says yes, they're okay with that. If you were to ask me, it seems like these questions are asked by one competitor. They're good questions. The competitor seems to know what they're talking about. You can always gauge some level of what the level of demand and interest is by reading Q&As and trying to read into the quantity of questions and the type of questions that are being asked. So that's the Q&A doc. Statement of work. We'll go into more detail talking about specific duties. Okay. Surface preparation. Any oil, grease, or deleterious materials shall be removed. Okay, guys, we are reading. We're in step 1. We're reading. Just stick with me. This is a necessary part. Primer. All exterior surfaces shall be primed. Top coat. After primers full dry, all exterior surfaces shall be painted with one coat. Coating inspection. A calibrated coating thickness meter shall be used to verify the thickness. Repainted. Finished painted surfaces upon visual inspection shall appear smooth and free. Each container shall have the surface prep primer top coat inspected. Imperfections shall be allowed. Containers shall be allowed time to completely dry prior to delivery. All paint inspection to be completed by NACE. And then here's those forms that they're talking about. The daily temp, the blast booth, that's what they're referring to. And that's it, guys. Very, not even 1.5 page statement of work. And then 7 or 8 questions in the Q&A. So that's why I wanted to cover those first to sort of get them out of the way. So we have a, say, 2-page statement of work. We have Q&A for our reading. This is just notes right here. Okay, this isn't actually starting to build our skeleton outline yet. They gave us specific tasks that we'll want to know about. And then for the Q&A, they're talking about trips. They were talking about, 400 inspections. Not really too many details at a high level. So let's, we did have the wage determination. For those of you who are not familiar with wage determinations, they do not tell you what you have to pay. They tell you the minimum you have to pay. And that's for anybody who's working on a federal contract. Okay. So that means if you're working with a teaming partner, it applies to them as well. So we can look to see, there is painter automotive. If you, search paint, strong one. There's electrostatic spray painter. There's aircraft painter. There's painter, maintenance painter. And that's the only 4 they're giving us for painter. I don't know if they have anything for inspect. Baggage inspector, that's not going to be. So the thing with wage determinations is they are not exhaustive lists. They're actually very limited lists. So you have to find the description here, the occupation code, that lines up closely also with a minimum wage. That's going to line up closely. And sometimes it's one or the other. They're not always a match. So you'll be probably asking your teaming partner, what is, a typical wage rate for that, and then try to line it up and find it in this. And this is not a whole master class on wage determinations, but this is just in case somebody complains they're being paid unfairly, or for some reason the contract is being scrutinized or investigated. The DOL will ask for your occupation code and what wage determination rate you are paying based on, to compare whether you are paying fairly and if the workers are being paid fairly or unfairly on this contract. And if it's deemed that's unfair, because that means you also have to do health and welfare, fringe, PTO, that sort of stuff, then you'll have to pay back the difference per the DOL. So that's where this comes in, but I'm not going to say more than that. Just wanted to, give you guys a high level of how this works. Okay, so now we're really moving on to our final piece of the reading, which is the solicitation document itself. I already have that pulled up. Okay, so we're hit with a SF 1449 form. Then we're hit with these numbers, solicitation summary, which actually, this page is pretty important. So this will be a firm fixed price contract with a 12-month base period. Okay, so just 1 year. They're referencing wage determinations, what we just looked at. Offers encouraged to inspect the work site, so site visit. Coordinate that by contacting them. Number 4, this is going to be really important, and they bolded it for a reason. So quotes shall consist of the completed and signed solicitation doc. Okay, that's the 1449 form here. Also, in accordance with FAR 52-21-520, which is for other than cost and pricing data, shall be provided. They're saying, i.e. labor rates and hours for personnel performing the work, payroll data to support labor rates, a breakdown demonstrating a calculation of the labor burden and fringe benefits rates, required material amounts supported by competitively solicited vendor quotes, a breakout of G&A, general administrative expenses, and identification of your profit. So when we get to it, we're going to have to pull this stuff out because this is going to end up actually being probably the most important part of the entire proposal response, right? And we're not going to calculate this in real time because there's no way I could do that. But we are calling out as much as we can. And I'm kind of telling you what you would need to do to kind of drive this one home and be competitive and compliant in your proposal response. Okay, so this is very, very important. Number 5, offers teaming or partnering. Here we go. With another firm for performance of the required service shall identify this fact in their offer, along with name and contact information for a teaming member. Okay, so that's going to be very important for us, especially if we're doing legal middleman method. We get a lot of questions about, hey, Derek, where do I put it? Okay, so we're going to cover that. There's a hub zone preference that they're citing. If you're not familiar with hub zone preference, it's 10%. They get a 10% differential. So I guess I'll just copy paste this whole thing to show you. What it means is when a hub zone's offer is being evaluated, say it's $10, it's $100, whatever, a round number. Okay, it's evaluated being 10% less than the number for a competitive standpoint. When numbers are being compared, their number is 10% less, but their number doesn't change. It's just evaluated 10% less. So if it's $10, it becomes $9 with the evaluation. So if $9 is the winning bid, then they win, but then they still get to actually bill and charge out their full $10, their full 100%. So it's a competitive advantage that hub zones get. That's what that is telling you. And if you didn't know that, now you do. It's saying quotes shall be submitted to Rebecca. Performance shall be in accordance with the statement of work. They're saying base period performance is 8 July. Well, it's already 4th of August. So that POP is going to get kicked back. Okay. Don't worry about that. As a requirement of any contract award, the contractor is going to participate in a pre-work meeting. Okay. Before you get like a notice to proceed to start a work, there's going to be a pre-work meeting. Contractor is responsible for providing all necessary labor, travel, equipment, materials, etc. Okay, so that's kind of what was really important there. We do have this next page. Please provide the following information, cage code, so contractor information to fill out. We also have a contractor POC table to fill out as well. There's iWatch training. The contractor and all associated subs shall brief all employees on the local iWatch program. Then we get that wage determination, which we already spoke to. We do have one pricing CLIN here, 0001, so that's important. And it's for one lot, essentially one job. Mercury container paint inspection. Now, one of the questions we're probably going to have is, are we basing it on the 400? Because the statement of work, it actually said a minimum of 400. So does that mean, see, a minimum of 400 containers will be tested? Does that mean there could be more? Because if I'm looking at pricing on this, it's not just infinite amount, right? So that may be an RFI to clarify. A note here, clarify. This is really like a pricing thing, but it's fine. We can put it here since we're reading. 400 tests. We're seeing the POP start date here as well. That would need to be pushed back. Then we're getting more responsibility, reps and certs type stuff that we would need to fill out. Cover telecom. And then they're giving us the statement of work again here, 2 pages. No, I think I missed one thing. I'm looking for the evaluation criteria. Here we go. They give it to us in red. So evaluation. Award will be made based on the TEP, the total evaluated price, that is capable of being determined fair and reasonable to the government, to the offeror determined to be responsible, offeror who is determined compliant with all requirements. So sounding like an LPTA, like you have to check the technically acceptable boxes first, and then and only then will your price be considered. So government will award a contract resulting from this that is most advantageous. And they're giving us a clarification. Okay. And that's the 68-page solicitation. I know we didn't cover it page by page. Definitely spend the time on your solicitations. So keep in context with our reading. We also point out leaning LPTA for the award. We know that we also have a contractor sheet to fill out and that pricing CLIN and the SF-49 form. And there's also some reps and cert stuff in there as well. So kind of high level takeaways for reading the solicitation as it relates to us right now. What is step 2? Step 2 is an outline. Okay, so we do have we never start with a blank sheet of paper. Did I close it out? No, I didn't. Okay. So here is our kind of skeleton, bare bones outline that we can use for every solicitation. And I say we can use it because that means we have to change it. That's the only way. The only constant is change. So we have a cover page. We have a cover letter. We have a company profile summary. We have a defaulted table of contents. We have a technical approach area. We have a past performance area. And we have a pricing area. All of this may not be included or required, I should say. We did not see a requirement for past performance. Okay, so we know we're going to have to take that out. Pricing, we know we have one pricing CLIN, so we'll have to update the pricing table. Technical approach, the only thing, I don't know about you, but the only thing that I really saw, which was very important, was these numbers. So it was this bolded area, which is really talking about pricing. So we'll move this to the pricing section. And then the offer's teaming or partnering statement. Because the rest of it was kind of forms, like that's the 1449, the contractor data, the reps and certs, all that sort of stuff. So really 4 and 5, I'm seeing is pricing and technical. So that's what I'm, since we're here, I'm just going to grab it because now we're on step 2 and we're going to start to update this. I'm kind of doing it a little bit out of order. Our technical approach, it says some items that may be required is staffing plan, quality control, management, PWS compliance, resumes, key personnel, or answering specific questions. Okay, we don't need that for this one. And then use proposal builder docs. If you have our course, we have all that housed there to kind of plug and chug. But right now we're just pulling as a reminder, right, what we need. So while we're pulling, I'm also going to pull this pricing stuff. Other than cost and pricing data, where they say IE, I'm going to pull that. And for now, I'm just going to put it under our pricing table. You can put it under or you could put it over. So for over, we have pricing table, Excel pricing breakdown, pricing cleanse. We do have cleanse. We don't have anything in Excel other than the Q&A, so we don't need that. So we have these two, okay, just for our own reference. And now that we know, we can take that out to clean it up. I think I'm going to opt to put it after, because I'm going to want to break each of these out and just clean this up a little bit. Labor rates and hours for personnel performing the work. Payroll data to support identified labor rates. A breakout demonstrating a calculation of labor burden and fringe. Required materials, material amounts supported. A breakout of G&A. And then a proposed profit rate. The offer is advised to carefully review all of this and provide all of this to be considered for our work. Okay, so we got that. So we're just cleaning this up a little bit, because if we're having our conversations with our teaming partner, this is, like I said, this is probably going to be the most important thing. And what are they calling this? They're calling this, other than cost and pricing data. Okay. And I mean, we could bullet this for now. I don't think I want to. Each of these is going to be its own little section. So they're being really, we'll say calculation, being very meticulous about truly wanting to see your prices. Not only that, but your profit breakdown, okay? We don't normally ever go into this level of detail, especially for middleman bits, because it's not required, but it's not bad. It's not bad for you to see this. The larger the contract, the more likely you will be asked to provide this type of information. So you're going to have to get this, you're going to have to calculate this. So in layman's terms, labor rates, payroll data, that might be hard. Maybe if the sub has something, but we could also ask in RFI, we need more explanation on this. Labor and fringe, any material amounts, G&A, and profit. Those are the 5 things. And then this will be reflective of our pricing claim. So please find ABC LC's pricing breakdown and other than cost and pricing data breakdowns provided below. And then we can remind ourselves of our pricing CLIN, which we almost passed it the first time. A good habit, guys, is to just notate what page number your important documents are. So this is on page 32. So this is one lot, and it's for mercury ton container inspection. So we can mirror this. So the unit will be lot. It's going to be 1 mercury ton container paint inspection. We can put technically this in here, but we know these dates will they're going to have to change because this date has already passed. Okay, and then the per unit and then the total, they're just going to be the same. And we only have a 001 CLIN. We don't have the others, so we can also remove those. To reflect something more like this, and then it'll just be more of our cost and pricing, other than cost and pricing data. Okay, so this is more of an accurate update and refresh for pricing to match this. You guys, I do want to say and add, I understand it's very valuable seeing this broken down at this level of detail. So what I'm deciding to do is this and these future episodes they're going to be part of our LMM course. So that means as I do more of these, I'll be able to organize them probably by scope, by industry is probably the best way to put it, within the course. So say this is more like a base ops or a facilities type of contract that we're working on right now for the paint inspection. It will be organized that way. And then in addition, because we did one video like this in the past on janitorial. Biggest question is, hey, where can I get the templates? Where can I get the templates? Okay. So then the other thing is the template that we build into this, and all these examples and documents that we're working with, I'm going to make those all part of it as available in that industry grouping, again, inside the course. So if you already have the course, now you're going to start to get access to these additional examples that we do. And if you don't have the course, it's just more reasons to get the course, because you're going to actually get all the templates that we build and have and create in these trainings. And the goal is to do a lot more of these in the future. So just wanted to let you know that things don't have to end here. If you're like, oh my God, this is like exactly what I'm looking for, you can continue to be supported in that way. Okay, so that was our pricing. I'm just kind of working our way up. Again, this is our skeleton, and now we're turning it into an outline. So we just updated our pricing. We're going to update our past performance. And did you see that as a requirement? Because I didn't. And so we're removing past performance. This is why every bid is different. This is why we can't just take this and just fill it out and do it. It hasn't been identified as an evaluated criteria. Okay, so this is becoming much more of a mirror match for what we need. We have price, and then we have this technical approach placeholder that we grabbed. So now what do we have left? Table of contents, company profile summary, cover page, cover letter. Okay, so we'll just quickly take a minute to update this, and then we're going to start pushing into the more fun, exciting stuff. Okay, so I know some of this is a little bit monotonous, but feel free to fast forward, or you can stick with me. But we're pulling our notice ID to input. So ABC LLC, your company name, obviously. Solicitation number, notice ID is going to be this number. Okay. Title agency, this is going to be for ACC Army. Did they give us? Yeah, ACC Rock Island. And then date, we can just do today. For the attention, we are going to pull contracting on this. So we'll do Megan Frost as the primary. And then we can take the building here. It's fine. Okay, so standard. If you want to put your logo over here, that's fine as well. And hey, if you're liking this video, why not like and subscribe to the channel? We can update our thingy again. Again, this is going to be the most monotonous part of this. Your company info, your POC, it's fine. So ACC Rock Island. And some of this stuff you only have to update it once, like the cover letter. It's going to, have your company info in it and all that good stuff. And then you can kind of use and reuse it, and then just customize it for the different opportunities that you're going after. Updating our NAICS code 541380. So it's kind of like a 50-50 thing. And a lot of it is repetitious. But this is a format that I've used, my students have used. So I don't see any reason to get away from what has worked for many students of mine, and more importantly, many winning offers. Okay, I know a lot of you guys struggle with like, what does right look like? And that's one of the many problems that I kind of try to solve here. Okay, so just updating some of the more monotonous information. Then we have our little final tee-up cover letter response. It reads, ABC LLC offers its response to solicitation such and such for title, location, agency. ABC company is a woman-owned small business, whatever, update it for you. And we specialize in providing XYZ services that meet the needs of our respective, you can say, customers' missions. Our SAM profile is current. That's important, with our reps and certs being completed. That's also important. And also reflecting the appropriate NAICS code. That's important. Whatever NAICS code required for this response. So then please find ABC company's response to include whatever we have identified down below. For us, we have our company summary profile, which is optional. Mind you, if you have a page limit, you might not need to include that. But it's our technical approach, and that's our pricing. And then we're going to have our other forms and documents as well. So we'll update this to read, we'll just say technical response and pricing. We'll say comma pricing and what do we want to call this? Contractor. What do we want to call the SF 1449 form and the contractor information? What did they call it? We'll go to those numbers again. I thought it was here. Base 12 month, wage termination, site visit. We'll just call it completed solicitation documents, because that's really what these is. It's a mix of. And completed solicitation documents as requested. Respectfully, such and such, so you can sign it. So, I mean, for the sake of being complete, I will just update. There's remaining documents, 541380. Sorry about that. The screen is blown up really large for your sake, but it kind of makes me lose my spot. So this is for paint inspection services. We could just say ACC Rock Island or whatever. And we could say facility services, including paint inspection services, because that's the teaming partner that we're going to be working with. That meets the needs of our respective missions. Okay, cool. Okay, so cover page, cover letter. Again, company summary profile. This is like your high level. If they need to find something about your company, it's got your NAICS codes. Certainly update that here. Your company website, any set asides that you have. If they're gonna, if you can help them or help them double dip on their their small business goals, But this is a totally optional page. And then we have our table of contents. So we've taken out past performance. We've changed stuff a little bit so we can update that to be more current. So Coming back to our steps, past performance, we did cover page, cover letter, TOC, and then our, so we moved that. And then the technical teaming piece, placeholder that we put there. Okay, so that's kind of it for outlining. We're plugging and chugging, guys. Now we can move on to step 3, pricing. And as I had already stated, and as you could imagine, I cannot calculate the pricing for you. We already updated our pricing table, which, you know, kind of is part of the pricing. But we know we're giving them one price. And we also have our pricing CLIN from page 32. So this is really all that we have for pricing. So this really is drilling down on these, you know, 5 or 6 main items. Labor rates in hours. So let's look at our wage determination. I mean, I'm going to take you as far as I can. Yes, we have that open here. So this is admin support, probably not going to be anything there. General service support. Health occupation, not really. Information and arts. See, these are very vague. IT, instructional occupations, laundry cleaning, machine tool operation, not really. Material handling and packaging, mechanics and maintenance, all aircraft stuff. Fire extinguisher, technician, gunsmith, ground support, mechanic, servicer or worker. These are kind of general, but I really don't think so. But I'm just kind of making a short list of maybes. Heating, ventilation, so HVAC, probably not. Personal needs, homemaker. Protective service occupations, guards, no. Recreation, nope. Engineering, drafting, paralegal, weather, transport, miscellaneous. Yeah, so like you see how there's not much, which is why I was going back to like the painter thing. Automotive, not really. Electrostatic, not really. Aircraft, not really. And then maintenance. So I'm like, I don't know if 1876 works for the subs, but maybe, you know, so I can pull that as a maybe. Becomes part of your conversation. Because this will massively help to influence, okay, if they're looking at labor rates, okay. Did I just mess something up? You know, maybe 1876 as a labor rate. Furthermore, says all contractors must pay all covered workers at least $12.90 per hour. So it's kind of like a minimum wage. We're in excess of that. And then after we get past the wages, there's health and welfare, okay? $4.57 an hour, up to 40 hours per week, or $182 per week, or $792 per month. For $4.57 per hour for this particular county. So health and welfare is a thing. It's not an optional thing. It's like, hey, I'm going to offer insurance or I'm going to offer health and welfare. No, this is for the workers to essentially be compensated properly And a lot of folks who underbid contracts, they are not doing this. They don't even know. They didn't have Derek to show them or whatever, somebody to show them. And then also, it says this rate is to be used only when compensating employees for performance on SEUA covered contract, which it is. Vacation, 2 weeks paid vacation after 1 year of service with a contractor or a successor, which means if you're working with somebody else, you'll have to honor and roll over their PTO too. 3 weeks after 5 years, 4 weeks after 15 years. Okay. So 2 weeks paid vacation. These are things contracting wants to see 12 paid holidays as well. Because of course this is going to affect you. So they'll want to see that you are compensating for this. Otherwise, they're going to say, hey, if we work with you, the employees are going to get screwed over. So I'm just calling out the important things for you. Okay. Payroll data to support the identified labor rates. You may or may not be able to provide this. They may be asking you to show you paid this on other contracts, but if this is your first federal contract, you say you've done work in the commercial space or you're working with a teaming partner for the commercial space, the most you could show is commercial payroll. But like I said, you could ask an RFI on this, a request for information to contracting to expand would this suffice? Right. Calculation of labor burden and fringe. Okay, so really what this is like the details, and then this is the actual calculation of it, of labor and fringe, because this is labor, this is fringe. Okay, this is labor. Fringe benefits, right? Vacation, holidays, health and welfare. You get the idea. Material amounts supported. So we could look at the statement of work on this, specifically at these particular bullets. Again, teaming partners this is really where they shine. Surface preparation, remove oil and grease, primer, top coat, coat inspection with thickness, repainting, any imperfections. Okay, so any material amounts for those tasks and duties. You could identify their costs here. G&A and proposed profit. If you don't know what G&A is, we can just go to, hey, let's use ChatGPT. I wasn't going to use it for this, but why not? Explain general and administrative expense for beginners and how they can calculate their G&A burden. Let's see what we get. Okay, so G&A expenses are the costs associated with overall administration and management of a business. These expenses are not directly tied to the production of goods or services, but are necessary for the overall operation of the company. So what are GSA expenses? Salaries and wages, compensation for employees not directly involved. So yeah, you don't want to think of the labor rate that you're paying for the people. That would be a direct expense. That would not be G&A. That would be direct labor burden. Okay. But say you had somebody back at the office that answers a phone to help them, like HR, to figure out how to do their timesheet or something. That could still be a salary thing, salary burden, wage, but that's like an indirect. Rent and utilities, okay, electricity, water, office supplies, equipment, insurance, other professional fees, accountants, lawyers, depreciation, any travel. But this would be travel that wouldn't be directly on the contract, because some contracts do have travel line items. And then any other administrative costs, such as subscriptions, membership, software license. Okay, so it's like an indirect cost. Calculating G&A and burden. For example, salary, rent. They're going to say, okay, say for this example, it's $80,000 to calculate all these things. And then say your total revenue is $500,000. I guess this is what they're saying. For example, total revenue is $500,000. Total cost is $400,000. So they give us a formula as a percentage of total revenue, and then as a percentage of total costs. I'm just showing you what you can go through with this for your own revenues and costs, which is why everybody's expenses and revenues and rates are going to be different. Every company is absolutely different. Why is G&A burden important? Control costs, budgeting and planning, financial health, yada, yada. Okay, so just high-level takeaways. It's going to be those indirect. So our indirect costs to support this contract. So what is that for you? Do you have a building? Do you have utilities? Do you have an accountant? Do you have, right? And so you're charging a percentage, because obviously your accountant doesn't exist just for this one contract. It's for any other things that you're doing. So it is spread out over a reasonable thing. And that's what reasonable rates. And that's what I wanted to get to. Reasonable G&A rates. For example. See if it's going to help us out here. So you're only charging a percentage of, you're only allowed to charge a percentage. For example, if like DCAA were to look and you were charging like at 100% rates, they're going to say, you're charging too much G&A on this, for example, right? And this is not like, we're really good into the details here, guys. So if you're like, this is great to know, awesome, but don't stress out about it, because most of the contracts, right, under $10 million, especially under $5 million, you're not really being hit with this type of request. We just happened to in this, and I said for this example, you know what, we're just going to go through with it because I think it would benefit you guys to create some placeholders in your mind, and at a very basic level, go through some of the examples with it. So for manufacturing, general ranges are 5 to 15% charging G&A. For services, which is us, 10 to 25% of revenue. Retail, it's 3 to 8%. Technology, up to 20%, but closer to 10%. Okay, and then they give us some formulas here. So you have ChatGPT, you can do this on your own. I don't want to overly, burden this, but say we're going to charge a G&A rate of, we'll pick something in the middle. We'll say, you're new, so we'll say 20% because you're new. Whatever it is for you. And then proposed profit rate is our last thing here. So I always give you ranges. I always say 10 to 25% for services. It's competitive profit range. Competitive profit ranges in the service industry. And of course, it's going to vary. It looks like they're giving us 15 to 30 for professional services, 20 to 40 for IT. Let's say, how about government contracting service? profit range. So a bit more competitive, as we see. So, I mean, I'm kind of at, 15. I talk about it, for example, in our book, our Legal Middleman Method book. We talk about earning multipliers. Guys, my shirt keeps like giving you a peep show here. Try to be nice and wear a dress shirt for you guys, and then I'm accomplishing the opposite. So we talk about earning multipliers in the book, page 177. You have the book, remind yourself, go to page 177. But this is ways, because if you're like, man, I want to make more profit, you can be more profitable on contracts, earning multipliers. There you go. It's not just about your profit, but it's how you manage the contract. It's how you manage your teaming partners. And there's a lot of things that I go in there. So if you're like, man, I would like to make, end of the day, like higher EBITDA, higher earnings, and we explain more of what those can look like inside the book. Highly recommend the book. If you're watching this video and you don't have the book, you're crazy. You definitely need to get the book. Everybody needs to get the book, okay? I say that because we have 36,000 subscribers on the channel, and we don't have 36,000 book sales, nowhere near. So get the book. Okay, so guys, let's zoom out. Let's refresh. What do we got going on? Cover page, cover letter. We have more of an outline than a skeleton now. Table of contents. Okay, so technical approach. That's really what we need to stress. I took you into more detail on the pricing. Hopefully that helps. And say we were to, calculate our pricing, just all in, so we can put something down. I'm just going to say like 75 grand. Like, I don't know. I don't think this is a massive jump, but I could be totally wrong on the price here. But, for the sake of completion, semi-completion. Oh, geez, sorry. We're not even looking at the screen. You're just looking at the hole in my shirt this whole time. What I did is I just filled out our sheet, 75, 75, 75. Okay. This would want to be more of a narrative with formulas and breakdowns. Okay. So really what we have is our technical approach, which is going to be focused on teaming. So what I would like to do, if you would be okay with it, is I would like to take, since it's so short, our statement of work. I would like to copy that, and I want to put that into ChatGPT. I didn't plan on doing this today, but we're having fun with ChatGPT. Provide a teaming technical write-up I think I want to phrase it that way. We will be working with a teaming partner to satisfy the following statement of work. Please provide, and we say please in case robots take over in the future, they'll remember that we were nice. Please provide a teaming technical write-up to explain, say, identify and explain the division of labor between us and our teaming partner, which is crazy to say, right? Because you only knew, you would know that, but it gives you something to start with to meet the requirements in the statement of work. And then I'm going to attach that statement of work from my downloads. And then I'm going to say, please do not provide bullet points, asterisks, or hashtags in the response. Please provide in a narrative format. Fingers crossed. Let's rock and roll. Okay, so to effectively meet the requirements for the mercury ton container paint inspection, so they pulled that, which is good, at Thule Army Depot, our company will collaborate with our teaming partner to ensure the successful completion of all tasks. This narrative will detail the division of labor. We'll probably clean that up. Our organization will take the lead on project management, ensuring adherence to the project schedule and overall coordination. We will oversee the testing inspection of the 400 containers, ensuring the groups of 30 containers are processed in accordance with the timeline. Our PM will be responsible for daily on-site supervision, documentation. I love that they pulled the daily on-site stuff. Surface prep, including achieving the site. So they're pulling that, which is great. The blast standards, our organization will take responsibility for the application of the primer and top coat. Inspection and quality control will be a shared responsibility. Organization will handle all logistical aspects of the project, including ensuring containers are kept clean and free of foreign materials. Love it. Summary of the division of labor between our organization and our teaming partner is structured to leverage our combined strengths and expertise. I mean, it's a great start, I think. And they didn't, we're going to include this into our technical approach. But I still want to preface this, and I'll leave this to you. ABC LLC will be ABC LLC and our teaming partner, say XYZ LLC, will form a collaborative team to meet the complete requirements of the performance of work statement. And then they asked for the I'm going to go back to that bullet. They asked for, guys, this is going to be such a good episode. I'm so glad we recorded this. Offers teaming with another partner. They want the name and contact information for the teaming firm. Please find the name and contact information for the teaming for our teaming firm. Okay, we just use their words, not ours. What's up? There we go. Okay, and then is this a thing? I want to make sure that's not becoming part of the table. It is. Okay. Yes, something going on with the formatting here that I want to fix. Yes. So I'm going to copy this. Nah. Okay, guess not. So we're just going to make this normal. Okay, so we removed that. We don't want all this junk in our table of contents. There we go. So they didn't tell us like a lot of what they wanted. They just told us a little bit of what they wanted. So that's what we're giving them for the meantime. Makes sense. And then we can go into our narrative, and we can, anything we wanted to clean up, we would want to do so. Like this sentence I didn't like. This narrative will detail the division. Like, So this can be our transitionary sentence here. Okie dokie. Where are we at? So we kind of just skipped through pricing. We'll just say finished. Writing to our main areas. We still have to, well, we filled out our table, but the pricing claim we still have to fill out. We kind of went into proposal writing a bit because we started responding to the technical teaming plan. But the other part of proposal writing is actually, it's really a lot of document management. It's plug and chug and it's document management. So if most of what we have here, we've say we're good on, right? I mean, I can't make this video 3 hours long either. Okay, so I'm going to save this. I need to look at what are our pages for our document stuff. So we have to fill out this page 1, page 2 is part of it. So page 1 and 2, we have to fill this out with page 5. And this was part of it. So page 5 and 6, 1 and 2, 5 and 6. And then our pricing was on page 32. Okay, so 1, 2, 5, 6, and 32. I'm going to write those down. So I'm going to say doc management. 1, 2, 5, 6, 32. And guys, I'll just speak to it. Reps, inserts, that sort of stuff. This. We're not going to include that as part of the merging of the docs because it's going to make it really, really long. So you can either include it separately, and if you don't know, it's technically already part of your SAM registration. So you could also reference it, and I think that's what we'll do for this since we're already putting a lot into this one. We'll reference it in our email submission to say, hey, our reps certs are complete in our SAM profile. We can provide those per request. Just to speak to that for a second. So we're worried about 1, 2, 5, 6, and 32 as it relates to this document. And then we have our response here. So now if we want that to be part of this, we can foresee those. We would almost have to turn this into a manual table of contents, which actually I'm not great at. So amendment. So I think what we'll do is we will just attach them separately. If you want to include it as part of this, we can, because it'll only be 5 more pages. So say SF 1449 form, it's not like perfect because this is an automatic table, but it's going to end up being like page 7, right? It's 1449 form will be 7 and 8. And then we had 1 and 2, and then we had 5 and 6. So this is contract information. Contractor information will be next. So SF 4049 is 2 pages, so that'll be 7 and 8. This will be 9 and 10. 9. Okay, that would be 9 and 10. And then we had pricing claim. So this would be page 11. If you don't know what I'm doing or why I'm doing this, you'll see in a second. because we're going to merge these pages. We're going to merge this Word that will soon be a PDF with these other PDF documents. So this way the table of contents will actually end up being right. I guess we could also change it in Adobe as well, but you know, whatever. So 1, 2, 5, 6, and then 32. So I think, and you guys, I mean, I think you get the point. But I'm not perfect, so. All right, so let's see if we can do this without messing it up all in one go. So I'm in small PDF. They have a free version and a paid version. Free allows you to do like one thing a day, but it's cheaper than like Acrobat. So I do like it. It's very intuitive. First thing we want to do is extract. So EMAS, E-M-A-S, extract, merge, annotate, sign. So first thing we want to do is extract. So I'm going to extract pages, and I want to extract those from our solicitation doc. So as you can see here, we have our whole solicitation, but we don't need all those pages. What pages do we need? We need 1, 2, 5, 6, and then 32. Okay. Finish that. So we extract it. Now I want to merge that with our working document. Did this work? What is this? Did it only extract one page? That's not right. That's not correct. I think we need to go back. Try it again. 1, 2, 5. Oh yeah, that's like when you click off, it clears it. That's why. 1, 2, 5, 6. 32. We got them all checked. Everything's checked. Okay, now let's go. Okay, cool. So we got, I said 1449. We got the contractor form, pricing claims. Sweet. Now I want to merge that with, so we have this. And so now I want to add to it the document we've been working on. That's big. So this one. So this is the document we're working on in Word. So see why the table of contents was going to be a thing? So I'm going to move these around. That way it's in order. And fingers crossed, this works. Okay, so now we merged it. So we have our cover page, our cover letter, company info, table of contents. And now we have our full table of contents. Table technical approach, pricing CLIN, right? And then we have our contracting documents. Perfect. So this worked. So now what we want to do as part of our proposal writing stage is annotate. Annotate means fill out. So we had some stuff that we needed to fill out. Say we wanted to assign here, we could do that. But I'm not really ready yet. Well, we're going to save that because it opens in another page. So we need to fill out the documents. So we have our SF1449 form. So we'll fill this out. So contractor, they want your address here. So Austin, Texas. Okay, they want your cage code. They want your phone number. So repeated information. Okay. They want your signature, so we'll do that in a bit. But they want your name and title. So Derek James, owner. want the date, 8/4/2024. This is all them. They want this information. People don't really get DUNS numbers anymore. So if you want to put your UEI, that's probably fine. If you have a DUNS, feel free to put it. Your cage code again, your TIN, right? 6X, whatever. And then your email address. And our email address. Okay, so we're filling that out. This is them. Then they just want contractor POC. So contractor name, ABC LLC. We could fill out this the DODAC, the rest of the solicitation ID. 24. So it's going to be R 2057, I guess. And then name, Derek James, blah, 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 blah. Cool. Contract administrator, that's fine. And then we had our pricing. Okay, so what do we remember from our pricing? We calculated it, quote unquote, calculated it, whatever your number ends up being. Just as a reminder for you, we did 75K. And this was just like one lot, so it's all one price. Could be 150. I don't know. Okay, so we have this now more filled out. Now we can sign it. So what was it? Emass, extract, merge, annotate, and now sign. So we'll open it. Cool, so we'll put my signature, we'll add a signature. Pretty terrible, I know. Create. All right. So put our signature there. We already filled this stuff out, so that's already nice and done, good to go. Signature there. And that's kind of it. Finish and sign. So this was not so download your document to save or small PDF. How do I download it? Oh, it's right here. Download. Okay. Scared me for a second. All right. So let's look at 13 pages. Here's our finished product, signature, technical, price. We got our forms. We got our pricing. Cool, guys. So, you know, for this instance, we have like a finished offer. So all that we would technically have left to do, just give me 1 second here so I can pull up my email without showing you stuff that you don't need to see. Okay, cool. So now we have our final step. Review and submit. So we can review it. Technically, if we're going to review it, we want to do that before we PDF and sign it. So we'll look at reviewing in another example in the future when we have more to review. So for now, we will work on the submission piece for you. And so for that, we have Megan Frost. So recipient, Megan Frost. So we can take the notice ID and put that in our email response, along with our ABC LLC solicitation response. Hopefully, okay, Okay, I'll zoom in a bit for you. It's a bit better. Okay. Good afternoon, Megan. ABC LLC is pleased to offer its response to your solicitation for, oh God, what's happening? At ACC Rock Island. Actually, that's not the place of performance, so we're going to leave it. Attached, you will find our response to include our teaming information, pricing, and completed contracting documents. Separately attached, or, we said we were going to, for the reps and certs, we said that we were going to. Additionally, our reps and certs are current in the SAM system and reflect our capabilities to perform under NAICS code, what was it, 541380 for this requirement. Always, 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 guys, please confirm receipt of our submission so that we, please confirm receipt of commission to acknowledge receipt of our offer by or before the proposal due date and time. Thank you for the opportunity to respond, and please do not hesitate to reach out for any clarifications needed about our offer. I am the primary point, as I am the primary POC for this project, as indicated in our proposal response. Thank you, Derek. Okay, good afternoon, Megan. ABC LLC is pleased to offer its response to your solicitation. Attached, you'll find our response include our teaming information, pricing, completed contracting documents. Additionally, our reps and certs are current in SAM and reflect our capabilities to perform under NAICS code 541380. Please confirm receipt of our submission to acknowledge receipt of our offer by or before the proposal due date time. It's a redundant sentence, but it's fine. Thank you for the opportunity to respond, and please do not hesitate to reach out for any clarifications needed about our offer, as I am the primary POC for this project, as indicated in our proposal response. Thank you. And then we would attach it. I'm not going to attach it. I hope you thoroughly got massive value from this in-depth bid proposal training. As I said, this entire video is going to begin being grouped with other trainings, as well as the attachments that we create throughout are all going to be included in our course. So eventually, if it's something that makes sense for you, I think you're going to get a lot of value out of it. As I'm just demonstrating here, a small part of what's included in our course. If you have questions about our course, you're interested in it, just email us directly. It's probably the best way. Support at GovKidMethod.com. And also, I referenced, check out our book. Like, subscribe, and then let me know in the comments what you thought of this, if you want to see more like this. And I will see you all in the next one.